Hello, everybody. This is Nick Totero, Professor of Information Technologies and Computer Science, Lakeland Community College. All right, in this cyber brief, we are going to talk about Muleshoe, Texas. It hit the news. This is April 2024. It hit the news like gangbusters. Let's go to the screen and let's just take a quick look at Muleshoe, Texas. That's its name, what it is, and how it made the international news. All right, just looking at Wikipedia, Muleshoe, Texas, right here. It's in the panhandle of Texas. It's a small community, a little over 5,000 people. We can go through there. And let me point something out. I'm not making fun of Muleshoe, Texas. It is one of those great little towns that we often refer to as flyover country or drive-through country, or you have to be going there to get there. But they're extremely proud of their heritage. They're proud of their high schools. They're proud of the people that come out of there. So this video is not about picking on some small town in Texas, in the panhandle of Texas. But Muleshoe, Texas is very typical of a lot of small towns, whether they be 5,000 people or 15,000 people. One of the things with these small towns is, and you'll often see this, is you'll see those big water towers. Even in big towns, you'll see those water towers. Those are meant for if there's ever a water outage, the gravity would pull the water from the water tower and still provide drinking, palatable water to the community. If you drive through 271, you pass through Willoughby, you'll see their giant water tower. And that's just kind of a fail-safe. If you were to go to New York City, you see water towers at individual buildings. And the general premise is they use low-pressure pumps to fill it over a long period of time. Then if they ever lose water pressure, the gravity would just pull it down and they're able to service the community. So a lot of times these little communities are very proud of their water towers. Also, a lot of these little communities, they have their own water treatment center, and that's where Muleshoe comes into play. Russian hackers, a Russia-linked hacking group suspected of carrying out a cyber attack on Texas water facility, cybersecurity firm says. There's their water towers. Many times you see them painted, but what happened is very serious. A well-known cyber attack group coming out of Russia was, let me move my screen over here. A well-known cyber attack group coming out of Russia attacked this small community's water facility. Now, what they did was in January, so far what we know, in January 2024, they basically forced the water tower to spill out water for about 30 to 40 minutes. Now, you might be saying, that's not big of a deal. The big deal was there was infiltration. There was a cyber breach. There was an infiltration. If they can spill out water, they can do other things. They can change the chemical base on water purification. And the bigger issue is it was an international attack, and it demonstrated the weakness of a lot of these facilities, a lot of these water treatment facilities. Now you have to think, many of these water treatment facilities are run by local municipalities. These local municipalities do not have millions of dollars at their disposal. Many of these local municipalities may have computer systems that are outdated. Many of these municipalities, and this is the norm, many of these municipalities may be the networking, the infrastructure, the IT infrastructure was put together by somebody's brother-in-law. And I'm not being facetious here. You see this quite often. Also, sometimes we saw this in Florida a couple years ago. These little municipalities are prone to having people set up convenient computers that they can connect in at home. Now, there's not a lot of information about what happened at Muleshoe yet, but they're pretty confident it was an international attack by a Russian-backed agency. They firmly believe that it was state-sponsored, but those are always very difficult things to prove. Why Muleshoe, Texas? It's in the middle of Texas. It's not a crossroads. It's not like a New York City or a Los Angeles or a Chicago. But it does show this inherent weakness with a great deal of our infrastructure, because a great deal of our infrastructure is distributed. Each city will have their own water treatment. And if hackers can shut down a water treatment in Muleshoe, Texas, and one of the things that they talk about is that it was probably low-hanging fruit. They refer to it as low-hanging fruit, that whoever set up the cybersecurity did not know what they were doing. So it was an easy breach to get in there. And then the attackers were basically just seeing what they could potentially do. This is systemic in what we do. I guarantee you there's thousands of Muleshoe, Texas water treatment centers all over the country where it's fairly easy to breach in. Now, what this has done a little bit, and this goes back a few months, is that the what do you call it? The EPA is setting out mandates telling these water treatment facilities to beef up your cybersecurity. At a minimum, make sure you even have cybersecurity set up. I'll post a link to this particular article. It's fascinating. It's just one of those things. So I don't want to spend too much time on it because there's just not a lot of information about it. One of the last things I'll say is Muleshoe did not discover the breach. The FBI did. Muleshoe, again, in January, they had water overflow. A valve opened up, water was overflowing for 30, 40 minutes. Nobody thought anything about it. Somehow, months later, the FBI got involved and said, no, this was an attack. So this was a very, very serious situation. The EPA is now involved with it, or has been involved in saying we need to secure our infrastructure. All right. Little trip down some cybersecurity issue way. The small municipalities, and we have them here in Northeast Ohio. Most cities have their own little water treatment center, or they will have a water treatment center for a bunch of communities. If you drive around and you see these water tanks. So this is serious. At a grand scale, it can be extremely serious. We need clean water. If they can open up valves to allow water out, there's other nasty things. That's why we need cybersecurity professionals. That's why these infrastructures have to be guarded and improved. So, that being said, this is Dick Totaro. Let's go and learn something.